Hey, how's it going? Hello, you fellow Canadians and people there. So, we're Eimer USA. We're part of Eimer Group, which is a worldwide company that we manufacture mixers, saws, grout pumps, aerial lifts, track buggies, ready-mix trucks, batch plants. We do it all. Mike, if you could just pan around and make it see some of the other equipment real quick. So, So this is our test facility here. That's Andy. Say hello to Andy. All right. So what we're going to really focus on right now is our pumps, because I'm pretty sure everybody knows what a concrete mixer is and that sort of stuff. But we have some really cool things that is the wave of the future when it comes to doing stuff like stuccos, mortars, grouts, self-leveling. We've got a long history of being in the pump industry. We also make our continuous mixers, which we're going to demonstrate today. So let's walk over to this. Here is the first unit that we introduced into the U.S. market. This is our Mighty Small 50. So if you can see here, so we have our pump here. This operates on 110 volt, and it has an inverter built in. So it's not just a 110 volt pump. This inverter pretty much balances out the power. So as long as you get between 85 and 150 volts into it, it will reconfigure the voltage and put a nice clean 125 volts into the panel and the components. So here we have the inverter. This shows our frequency. So it's in essence a frequency drive. Goes to 75 hertz. So reverse, forward. It will ramp up speed accordingly. It will be set for various different materials. So when we're doing stuff like self-leveling, we really want to go as fast as we possibly can. So we use that speed at about 75. Right? So at 75, we get about 3.5 gallons per minute, which is about a bag a minute. Right? So this, the whole idea of this is its versatility. That it can be used for self-leveling, grouting for like block fill. It can be used for filling door jams. It can be used for lots of various applications. Fireproofing, stucco. So we would add a compressor to this, which fits right into this slot here, and the compressor turns it into a sprayer. And as a sprayer, we could do our stucco base, like a scratch coat, brown coat. We also have different gun kits that we could use to either build up the material, like repair mortars, fireproofing, or we have a fine coatings gun that could do, let's say, very thin coats or elastomeric coatings, things that would be, let's say, like a heavy paint, right? So your EAF system, where you're going to put on your acrylic stuccos, you could use that as well. We have a grout injection system that can closely monitor. It will automatically kick off the pump once your cavity is filled. Let's say grout injection to fill cracks and voids. So these are the things that you want to be able to not make it worse by splitting apart the wall. So you set it to the PSI that you want it, and it'll automatically kick off. We do have a version that looks similar to this. It'll be 220 volt. It's going to be an airless sprayer. So for the guys that are doing these coatings, can basically you're using a paint spray gun to do your products. For example, in Europe they use it a lot for skim coats, but here it's will be used for air vapor barrier. So if you figure our competitors make a heavy-duty paint sprayer, which is about $12,000, but it's only used for that one application. So if you're a mason contractor, you're spending $12,000, you're going to use it for a week, and then it's going to sit in your warehouse for a month or 2 months until your next job. With this, it will just be You buy the pump, you change out some components, which is the rotor and stator, and you're able to make it into a much more versatile machine. So, did you already play the video?
Yes.
Okay. So here I want to show you this as well. So this is our Spin 15 rotor stator. This is our Spin 15 continuous mixer. So what a continuous mixer does is it breaks the dry bags in here, so if you can look inside the hopper. Dry bags go in here. As you can see, Andy is connecting the water connection there. And the water is automatically injected into the mixing chamber, which is here. Right? So the mixing chamber, water is metered here with our flow meter. So our flow meter, we would set the water level to the desired consistency that we're looking for, and then we would put it directly into the pump. So we can now make this into a self-leveling rotor stator pump. So it's a combination there. So what we're going to do is we're going to position this underneath the mixer, and we're going to pump out some self-leveling. 75. So let's slide that right underneath. Spin. This was designed for 3 different heights. So we have, as you'll see here, to fit right over the small 50. Okay, so this will position right over. We just got a short hose on here, bag of self-leveling. This where you've got, as you can see here, a bunch of self-leveling that a lot of material producers, they donate to us. We have a vacuum attachment here, which we're going to turn on. So as you can see, the vacuum attachment works pretty well to keep the dust under control. So without it, we'd have a cloud of smoke. So I already preset the water level to this, so I know that it's going to fill this up at the desired consistency that I was looking for. I can change it on the fly. I also have my flow meter here, which you can just know if you're going to be working with this product. Okay, I want it set at 300. Good to go, no guesswork. So, switch here. That works.
Yes.
Going to increase the water level a little bit. Can you see down in there? And now I'm going to switch on the pump. We have some water in the hose first. And this is our self-leveling. So Mike, if you could look in there. It's fine, you can cut that off. Right? Very consistent product. Can you grab that right there? Come back up this way again. Just want to show you the consistency. You can stop the pump. You can stop the mixer. So as you can see, that's coming out pretty good consistency right there. No, it's fine. Clean up is pretty easy on this. So let's pump out the rest of what's in here. Almost done. The bag of self-leveling. This where you've got, as you can see here, a bunch of self-leveling that a lot of material producers, they donate to us. We have a vacuum attachment here, which we're going to turn on. So as you can see, the vacuum attachment works pretty well to keep the dust under control. So without it, we'd have a cloud of smoke. So I already preset the water level to this, so I know that it's going to fill this up at the desired consistency that I was looking for. I can change it on the fly. I also have my flow meter here, which you can just know if you're going to be working with this product. Okay, I want it set at 300. Good to go, no guesswork. So, switch here. That works.
Yes.
I'm going to increase the water level a little bit. Can you see down in there? And now I'm going to switch on the pump. We have some water in the hose first. And this is our self-leveling. So Mike, if you could look in there. It's fine, you can cut that off. Right? Very consistent product. Can you grab that right there? Come back up this way again. Just want to show you the consistency. You can stop the pump. You can stop the mixer. So as you can see, that's coming out pretty good consistency right there. No, it's fine. Clean up is pretty easy on this. So let's pump out the rest of what's in here. Almost done. So, just want to show you guys the cleanup procedure for this. So, we still have material inside the hopper. As long as we don't get it wet, we're fine. Go ahead, take that off. Go ahead. So we have our mixing paddle, which we'll rinse off with some water. We'll rinse that off with some water, and it's clean. That's the cleanup procedure. around this so you can see. Lift this up. We have a safety sensor right here. So if the unit is disengaged, it will not turn on. Okay? We're just going to slip this back on. Our safety sensor hits that right there. That's the cleanup. So the pump is fairly simple if you want to fill that with water. We're going to stick our sponge ball right in there. Turn that pump on. Let's go, Paul. Cleanup is done. So our small 50, very versatile. They both worked on 110 volts. It's the easiest combination that we have. With the spin, we can pump grouts, mortars, dry pack, self-leveling, fireproofing, basically whatever's pre-blended in a bag. We've also mixed SHOTCRETE concrete mix in it. Not the prettiest thing in the world because it has a lot of aggregate, but it will still mix it. So when you need, mix on demand. So let's say if you only need a bag every half hour or so, that's the mixer right there. You don't have to worry about mixing up a whole batch. You don't have to worry about having to clean it out after every use. The cleanup there is pretty simple. So you can leave material in there. It's not really going to dry out on you very easily. So I want to show you the bigger brother to this. This is the Spin 15. So when you need more materials, we have the Spin 30. So if you look at them side by side, you can see a little bit of a size difference there. This one is 220 volt single phase. Same concept. And we're going to, I don't know if you can see in there, but you'll hear it. We're going to mix up some of that SHOTCRETE concrete mix. So if it can do that, SHOTCRETE concrete mix, it'll do anything. 3/8 aggregate, but there's a lot of 1/2 inch, some 5/8 that are in there. They're not so clean with that. So again, we're going to hook up our water hose. And the water hose, we're going to dial it in here. And with this SHOTCRETE mix, I'm going to show you guys what it looks like dry mix versus wet mix, and how you can play with the water to adjust the consistency or plasticity that you're looking for. Just a little housekeeping, bear with us. here. Not sure what the water level is set to, but we're going to switch it on. We already have some material in there. Flip the switch. Not working. So as you can see, we're able to adjust the water ratio for the consistency that we wanted. So that I turned the water way up and I made it into a soupy mess. We're also out of material here, so we didn't bother to break open any more bags. You can hear that how loud that stuff was. If you can look here, see those rocks? That's what's in this stuff. So this is just straight up concrete that you would find at Home Depot or Canadian equipment if they sell concrete. Again, clean up, very simple. Let Andy take care of that in the meantime. So these mixers here are the wave of the future. We've been building these mixers in Europe for about 15 years already. So they're pretty much perfected. Our mixing paddle is exclusive to us. We engineered it, we designed it, we made it to work with lots of different materials here. Our competitors have tines that go this way. We have paddles this way. This is the logical way to make it. Also, some of our competitors' mixing paddle is made out of plastic. I don't know if you'd ever want to mix anything with plastic. Plastic is not good for mixing. You would never mix this material with this aggregate in anything plastic. Oh, and FYI, our mixer, our Spin 15, is about half the price of our competitors because we sell them all over the world. They are proven. We've had them in the market all over the world for 15 years. We've perfected it. Our manufacturing is, we're not making one or two at a time. We are making lots of them, right? So our manufacturing cost is lower. We buy high quality components. Our motors are rated for 100% duty cycle. Paddles, metal, not plastic. So, as Andy cleans this up, we're going to move over to some of the other products that we have on display. So, you're going to play that video, I believe, Mike?
Sure.
Step up. Nice on the fly.
Yep.
So, this is the next step up from our small 50, the mighty small 50 over here. As you can see, step up 120, or as they call in Italy, step 120. So this unit comes in 3 different power options. So we have, this is our step up 120A. This is 3-phase, 220 volt, and it is 10 horsepower drive motor. That rotor stator will put out about 8 cubic yards per hour of grouts, self-leveling, whatever you need. You can shoot it from a ready-mix truck. So that is to bring material as fast as possible to your destination. So if you're doing block filling, or you can hook this up with a SHOTCRETE nozzle and SHOTCRETE pools, decks, whatever. The nice part about rotor stators is that they don't give you any pulsation like a piston pump would. So the spray that comes out of this is consistent. You don't have that surge and then it backs off. Surge and then it backs off. So with this, single speed, basically fast. We can change the rotor stator on there. That would make it into a reduce the speed by about half. Okay, but again, single speed. The step down from this would be our step up 120 3-phase. This is the A. The A means 10 horsepower, fast gearbox on there to pump out a lot of material at one time. We have the step up 120 3-phase, which will have 2 speeds, low and high. So when used with this rotor stator, we're looking at about 2 yards an hour, and then it jumps to 5 yards an hour. If we change the rotor stator on that, we can drop down to about 1 yard an hour and 2 yards an hour. So it depends on what you're doing, what the application is. Again, we have a lot of experience when it comes to pumping, spraying, grouting, self-leveling. Eimer Group has been producing these products in Europe for a very long time. So here what we have, these are the 3-phase. We also have single phase. And it's all pretty much the same body. The only thing that changes is the motor, gearbox, and the control panel. So the frames are the same. The rotors and stators are interchangeable. Use the same hose. It's just a matter of what are you looking for. So our 220 volt single phase unit will be more versatile or more adapted to spraying stuccos and fireproofing and doing grouts and filling blocks and self-leveling. That will do 1 to 2 yards an hour. But that has a lot more speed control on it, such as the inverter. So you can get a mixer that can mount on the top. No, and here's a slot to hook up an air compressor. So if you wanted to hook up an air compressor to make this into a sprayer, you can do that. It mounts very easily, and we can plumb it right in. So in the past, this used to be sold as everything included as far as mixer, compressor, things like that. But what we found is that why should you pay for something that you don't need? So if you're going to feed from a ready-mix truck, you don't need the hand mixer that would go on top of that. Or you could feed it with the spin series. So we have a lot of mixing options as well. So it's towable. We also have a frame that is non-towable. So if you're, let's say, you're going to do fireproofing indoors and you want to get through a 36-inch doorway, basically it's narrow enough that you don't need to disassemble it. We have an indoor version, so basically the axle would be non-towable. It wouldn't have the tow bar. You just have a grab handle, and the wheels are inside the frame. So these are this is our step-up one. Available in single phase, 3-phase, and then 3-phase with a 10 horsepower motor. So it's one of these things where you probably want to speak to us to determine what is your best option for your pumping and spraying needs. So one of the things that I want to show you, I guess since we're out here, we could lead into here. This is our Prestige, the 300 Prestige. And the 300 Prestige is diesel powered. And so it eliminates the need to have a tow-behind generator or hooking up to indoor power. Sometimes 3-phase is not readily available. So with the three-phase version, you need about 15 kilowatt motor to run this in three-phase. So either a small towable or a large portable. The single phase will run off of a 7,500, 8,000 watt portable generator. So if you have a DeWalt generator or some sort, I don't know if CEO carries generators, but you can run it off a larger portable generator. Let's say something that has a 13 horsepower Honda or bigger. This has a 24 horsepower Yanmar engine on it, so it's like it's its own complete unit. As you see here, this has the mixer built on as well. This is diesel over hydraulics. Right? So, diesel motor, which is a 3-cylinder diesel, water cooled, will operate all of the functions on here. We have a built-in air compressor. The air compressor runs off of the engine, so that's on a belt and pulley. So, this is a complete production plant, let's say, where if you're in remote areas or if you're in the beginning stages of a job site, these are the things that you basically would probably want this, as opposed to having this unit with a generator and having to tow two separate pieces. This is an all-in-one. Again, we can change the rotor stator on here, which this is our basic 2L6 rotor stator, right? We can put an IM25L rotor stator, or we could put a 60.12. So this can fit on there, and this will produce about 6 yards per hour of product. Again, for SHOTCRETE, it's beautiful. You would use a 50 millimeter hose or gun kit. You would hook it up to a tow behind air compressor because we need the pumping spray force and volume. So this is towable. It's not an indoor kit, so you would have to use it for as a tow behind or put it up on your truck. So the other thing with this, I don't know if you can see this here. So our control panel here gives us a lot of indicators. Andy, can you open that mixer? So if you'll see here, light comes on, so it'll automatically shut down the mixer and it'll start back up once it's back on. So he's going to open up the hopper. Can you show that here? And you see the red light here. So it'll stop the pump so nobody puts their hands in there while it's mixing. And now it's off. I'm going to start it. It's going to be a little bit on the loud side, so I'll just point to things. Okay, so what I was pointing to, these LED lights indicate the speed. So we have 20 speed settings on here in which we can run this pump at. So combined with the different rotor stator options, you can fine tune this to whatever you need. So if we put our 60.12 rotor stator on that one, that is a 2L6. 2L6 is made more for higher pressures. So if you're going to be spraying stuccos and things and you're going to be going up a 10-story building, spraying stucco, let's say a hotel or something, you probably want to use that one. If you're going to be doing shotcrete or grouting, you probably want to use that one. And we have one in between as well. So the mixer is waist high. You're not lifting the bags so high and then having to drop them. It's at a comfortable height. And right now we're sloped, so it would be even lower if it was on level ground. Dumps into the hopper. So as it's pumping, we prepare the next batch. So, for example, if you're going to use a product like a SHOTCRETE 211 SCC Plus or something similar, and it's got to mix for 3 minutes, you would need to mix it in something like this first. Mix it, dump it, prepare the next batch, start mixing and dumping, and it becomes a consistent, I guess, plant. So this mixer holds 6.3 cubic feet. So if we're talking about bags, that's about 12 bags of 50-pound bags or so of material, 60-pound bags of grout, or about 80-pound bags of grout. A lot of people use this for block filling as well. So the air comes out from here, so we can produce our own air when we're doing things like spraying fireproofing or stuccos or repair mortars. There's a lot of different materials out there, so it's hard to name them all, but we've probably done them all. So these are our rotor stator pumps as well as that small 50. So basically you mix the product, you throw it into the hopper, and you pump it out. The mixing is separate from the pumping, right? So just like the other one, regardless which mixer we use, if we use a continuous mixer, or we use a vertical shaft mixer, or we use our onboard mixer, we're mixing the product first, then dumping it. We have products that are continuous pumps. And the continuous pumps, what they are, is it's an automatic process. So we're taking a product like our Spin 15 or a Spin 30 and merging that with a pump as a continuous feed pump. So basically, once you set the water level to what your desired consistency is, you just keep breaking bags open, and all your guys need to do is make sure that it doesn't run out of material. And those are used primarily for self-leveling, grouting, fireproofing, things that are very consistent, that you're going to have very similar products all the time. Because the material doesn't stay in the mixing chamber very long, it's not recommended for products that need to mix for a full 3 minutes. Things that have a lot of plasticizers and polymers. But I'll have to say this. In the beginning, material producers like self-leveling manufacturers, that like Ardex and those type of companies, Rapid Sets, they used to say, well, you can't use a continuous mixer because it doesn't mix long enough. Well, people were using them anyway because they saw the labor savings. You could cut about 5 guys out of the equation when you're doing a floor. They saw that the floor came out pretty good, so they said, I don't care. If you tell me I can't use it, I'm going to use some other brand, until they found guys that said, yes, you can use it. Fast forward, now the industry has adapted to continuous pumps. If you do large commercial jobs, you cannot be competitive unless you use a continuous pump. And the material producers now make their products where it mixes, and they know that it's going to be used in a continuous pump. They put the chemicals in there that can react quicker and perform better. So the next product that I want to show you is our point form. So here we're hooking up our water supply. We have dry material in here. So we had a company came here. This material is, really I don't know what it is. It came in white bags,
Used for restoration.
and they fill voids between like block or things like that. So it's a lightweight material that they are mixing up and going right into between the cavity to fill it. So never really worked with it, but it's simple for us. All we did was
Construction, because the material used cannot be any stronger than the original.
right. So it's a low psi grout because it has to flex. So if you have old brick that has lots of lime content in it in the joints, you don't want the grout to be stronger than the brick wall. You want it all to expand, contract, absorb the water rate at the same time. So there is, if you can see that, there's some decent amount of lime in there, and it's made primarily for filling voids. So as you see here, we have our dust grate. Those slots in there will suck the dust in. Our vacuum here sucks.
As it's
So-
supposed to.
So we, I highly recommend. I know that Bosch and DeWalt and Hilti make self-cleaning vacuums, 110 volt, that will work just fine, a lot better, and it controls about 99% of the dust. So that's the dry hopper. We have a feeding wheel that lifts the product and dumps it into here. So if you can see inside there, here's our mixing paddle, which is also a drive shaft. So continuously, material drops from in here, drops down, water's injected here, show here, water's injected here, goes through our rotor stator, and pumped out all in one shot. This pump will do roughly 300 bags an hour. 50-pound bags of self-leveling. 275, 300. Different bags have different volumes. It could be plus or minus 5 pounds or so, or 0.5 cubic feet for a 50-pound bag. Some 55-pound bags are 0.5, so that's why we give a range. I've seen 300 bags an hour with no issues. It's also used for filling block. So when you're using, let's say, a spec mix core fill grout, which are 80-pound bags, it'll do about 4 and a quarter. So an 80-pound bag is about 0.6 cubic feet. So we're roughly about 4 of those bags. Tell you one thing, when it's waist high, the guys can keep up. Once you start having to bend down on the pallet, lift up the bags, those guys are shot. So usually there'll be 2 guys breaking bags open. And so what does that mean? Every 12 seconds, a bag is consuming a bag. So we align the mixing paddle, close the lid. Our motors are 100% duty cycle, meaning it can run all day, every day, 365, doesn't need to slow down, doesn't need to stop, doesn't need to take a break. If you wanted to pump forever, you could. We use high quality motors in all of our products. They're 100% duty cycle. That is a huge difference between companies that cheapen their product by putting 50% duty cycle. You got to figure, guys that are doing flooring, they'll start in the morning and they'll do 3 floors in one day, whatever size floors those are. They keep going. That pump never stops. It does not take a break. Because if it's not pumping, they're not making money. So they have crews prepping floors, and then they have crews right behind them shooting pins and putting primer down, and then the next day they're pumping the floor. So when you're doing a high rise, they pretty much get up to 3 floors a day, depending. The other thing that we're seeing is that a lot of self-leveling is built into the job now. So for all you concrete guys that are doing the flooring, I come from New York City where they put up buildings pretty quickly. So in 3-4 days, they want a floor. So they don't worry anymore about flatness of the floor. They don't worry about footprints or scuff marks or whatever. They just put the floor down because they know 1.5 inches of self-leveling is going on top. So you factor 1.5 inches self-leveling for a couple of hundred square foot floor, a couple of thousand square foot floor. That's a lot of self-leveling. So anyhow, we have our blue light indicates that we have our three-phase 220 volt connected. This pump can operate between 190 and 260 volts. It's not a 208 pump, it's not a 240 pump. That's because, again, we use the highest quality motors. Our motors can operate within that range of 190 to 260 volts. So we also have a switch here, no blue light, means that that's reverse. Blue light means that it's forward. So we have a water pump built in. That's our water pressure gauge. So as long as we get 40 psi, we can pump with it. If the pressure gauge while we're pumping drops below 40, it will stop the pump. So you're not pumping dry material. So here, you can see this. We have 67 psi coming in. The water pump will boost it another 70 psi. So we're actually sucking water from the water source.
You already talked about the water source.
So as you can see here, you can see that. If we do not have enough water supply, let's say you're trying to feed it off a residential building that is water for the whole building, we can actually fill up tanks of water and suck water from the tank. Mind you, this will suck 400 gallons per hour of product, so you need a lot of water to keep up. Anyhow, we also have a feeding wheel here. This feeding wheel can start and stop this wheel here, and what that wheel does, when we're done, we can just stop the feeding wheel, it'll finish off whatever is in the mixing chamber, and then we can clean out the hose very easily. So, our first step here, we're gonna put some water in the chamber. So, cap that off. Turn on my feeding wheel, turn on my water pump, and we're going to pump into that. Andy, I'm going to kill you. There we go. Look here, look here, look here, look here. Before I run down. Okay, look at Andy now. So that is a continuous process. You would just keep filling bags of material. You can see inside the hopper again. You can see how much it. That probably went through about 3 bags of product already in that time frame. So if I open this hopper, see the dry material on top. Down here is wet material. So, I shut off the feeding wheel, otherwise it would be filled to here. So, I'm going to pump out the rest. I have my feeding wheel off. Turn on my water pump. Okay. So if we look in here again, so at that point it's just cleanup, and pretty much we can remove the hose. We'll show the cleanup procedure. We have the this makes life very easy. This is our water clean out tool. I'm going to hook this right onto there. Okay. I'm going to turn on this valve. So, hose is clean. We just need to pass that sponge going through one time. Here's our little adapter. All that's left is to clean the chamber. I'll let Andy deal with that later. You can see we have our continuous mixers over there. We have our continuous pump, which combines that and a pump into one. 220 volt, 3-phase. We also have that one over there, 220 volt single phase. And the single phase is slower because it's only a 3 horsepower drive motor. This one is 7.5 horsepower. So when you really need to push volume, this is the best solution. If it takes you a little bit of time to get 3-phase power, it's so worth it. You're not going to use this for a 100 bag pour. You're really looking at, 600, 800, 1,000. Most guys that buy this are basically looking for opportunities, and they are really aggressively chasing margins because they can't wait for the next job to use this on. So, material producers also, they 4 minutes? Yep. Okay. So, material producers really like this, and they're looking for solutions for this stuff. So, our last but not least pump, that's our biggest, is our Booster 15. This is a straight up piston concrete pump. It's made to pump concrete. And we're not talking about 3/8 concrete, we're talking about 3/4. It can actually do up to a 1-inch aggregate. So concrete from a ready-mix truck. 15 meters per hour, which is 20 yards per hour. This is used for pumping concrete, for pumping grouts, for pumping self-leveling, it's pretty much overkill, for high volume. It's also something that we can use to adjust the flow rate. The other day, I was working with a company that's doing sewer repairs. Basically, they're using a BASF product, and they have to pump it 650 feet. Well, they put 650 feet of 2-inch hose, and we pumped it. Wasn't the prettiest thing in the world. That's a lot of material that has to get through that hose, but we were able to pump it. Even an hour later, it was still pumpable. So material makes a big difference. That material was not easy. But when we're talking about concrete, that's a no-brainer. The other application for this SHOTCRETE. So really, those two applications, pumping grouts and concretes and or hooking it up with a 185 CFM air compressor and SHOTCRETE. So a lot of people talk about SHOTCRETE, that they want to go as fast as possible, things like that. But really, in my experience, most guys can't handle more than 5 yards an hour. This is plenty strong enough to do that task. Mind you, when you go from a 4-inch outlet, so if you can come this way. Four-inch heavy-duty connections, that's your standard concrete pipe size. So normally you would have an elbow coming off of here. You would run as much pipe as you possibly could, and then at the end you would use hose. But if you reduce from 4-inch down to 2-inch, you can only get so much material out of a 2-inch hose at one time. The pump will adjust. It's hydraulically driven. You look in here, 2 pistons and an S valve. So the S valve switches. Right? We have our vibrator for lower slump product. We have our grease points, so we have the mixing paddle inside there. So the hydraulic motor that turns that mixing paddle. As you can see, maybe better this way. Keep material moving. Come around this way. You'll notice our panel looks very similar to our Prestige. So, glow plug. If we open up the items, you'll see the lights come on, that it will stop the pump for safety reasons. Once the glow plug comes off, I'll just start it briefly. We have our throttle. On this side. So, as you can see, that S valve kicks over in a fraction of a second. So you get less pulsation once you're shotcreting, especially. When you're shotcreting, the faster that S valve switches and the pistons switch directions, the less pulsation you get. So we also have an automatic greaser and our grease points here for the non-vital components. Our grease points are here, such as this. For the S valve and the critical components, we have an automatic greaser, a tub that automatically greases the product every 20 minutes or so. So, I believe we're out of time. I'd like to thank everybody for attending, and I hope that you guys learned something about us. I'm Robert Baccarella. I'm the CEO of Eimer Group USA. Thank you to Mike for holding the camera and setting this up, and Paul from CEO, and Chaz for making this hopefully stream properly. If you guys have any questions, we have our rep up in Canada, Danny LeBlanc. He's out of Montreal area, but he's very familiar with the product. And we're also open to help. We know that pumps are not the easiest thing in the world to know about, so we will not sell you something that will not be suitable for your project. We want to make sure that you're a happy customer and that the pumps perform as you think they will. So, I'd like to thank you again, and take care, guys.
Fatal.